Live from Atlanta, this is CNN Newsroom with Lynda, Kinkade.
Israel is warning of a possible ground incursion into Lebanon as France and the U.S. call for a ceasefire. Another 81 people were killed by Israeli strikes Wednesday, according to the Lebanese health ministry. That puts the death toll since Monday at around 600, including women and children. Israel claims it's hit more than 2,000 targets in the past 3 days, and that includes 70 Hezbollah intelligence facilities. At the Israeli-Lebanese border, Israel's military chief met with the troops, telling them there to prepare for a possible invasion into Lebanon.
Today, we will continue. We are not stopping. We keep striking and hitting them everywhere. The goal is very clear, to safely return the residents of the north. To achieve that, we are preparing the process of a maneuver, which means your military boots, your maneuvering boots, will enter enemy territory.
The U.S., France and other allies are calling for a 21-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. I want to bring in CNN's senior international correspondent, Ivan Watson, for more on that. Ivan, good to have you with us. So talk to us about this ceasefire proposal. What are the details, and is there any chance both Israel and Hezbollah will go for it?
That's the million-dollar question. The U.S. and France kind of spearheaded this effort. They're calling for an immediate ceasefire for 21 days to kind of avert an all-out war that I think some critics argue has already basically begun. This has gotten the endorsement of a number of U.S. allies, ranging from the European Union and Japan and Germany to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. And a U.S. official says that both parties, Israel and presumably Hezbollah, are aware of the basic contours of this plan. The challenges are this. Israel says it wants to return more than 60,000 of its civilian residents to northern Israel. They have been forced to flee for nearly a year by this border conflict that has been underway between Hezbollah, the Lebanese militia, and Israel. Meanwhile, Hezbollah's point of contention has been that it will stop firing rockets across the border if Israel stops killing people in Gaza. That has been, of course, a conflict that has claimed more than 40,000 Palestinian lives and is approaching the 1-year mark. And a reason why there's some skepticism about this is because the U.S. has purportedly been involved in negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza for nearly a year and has come away from that process virtually empty-handed. So we have to watch closely to see if there is any room for both of these warring parties to step away from the brink. Lynda.
All right, Ivan Watson, we will check in with you again soon. Good to have you with us. Thank you. Well, for more on this, I want to welcome Nabih Bulos, who is in Beirut. He's the Middle East Bureau Chief for the Los Angeles Times. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So hell is breaking loose in Lebanon. That's how the UN chief describes it. How would you describe it, and how does this crisis compare to what Lebanon has dealt with in recent decades?
Well, so obviously, this is one of the largest attacks that we've seen on Lebanon in decades, since 2006, when Hezbollah and Israel last faced off in a major war. Now, it should be said that the situation, at least in Beirut and parts of Lebanon in the north, where Hezbollah does not dominate, remains fairly stable. Yes, there are, of course, people streaming from all over the country, and they're trying to find apartments and shelter, and you can actually go and see displaced people now in various parts of the capital. But life in Beirut and in North Lebanon now continues, fairly in a routine fashion, which I know sounds surprising, of course, given all that we've heard about and all that we sort of see in terms of destruction. But that's because the destruction is mainly focused in the south of the country and the east. So in that sense, that's how the feeling is. But of course, people are terrified and very worried. There are cancellations of flights. It's very, very hard now to find a flight out of the country, in fact, unless you go with the national carrier. And people are even streaming into Syria, which, as you know, is also, in war.
Yeah, exactly. It's certainly dangerous to go that route too. You write in the LA Times about the impact this attack is had on Hezbollah, saying the militant group appears to have hit its lowest point in more than its 40-year history. Explain that assessment for us.
Well, so the fact is, Hezbollah has been building up its capabilities since 2006, right? And you've had a situation now where, I mean, you could argue that it's the most organized and best equipped paramilitary group in the world. And a lot of that is a function of its arsenal, but also that its cadres seem to be disciplined and have been able to, constitute a threat against Israel for quite some time. And at the same time, the feeling is growing in Lebanon that the group has been preparing to fight the last war and not a war now, which is to say that it just seems technologically outclassed. If you consider what's happened in the last few weeks, right? You had the pager attack, you had the walkie-talkie attack, but that too was preceded by actually a long line of commanders being felled, one after another. And all these things hint at a massive security breach that the group has not been able to plug or deal with in an effective fashion. And what that means is that, in many ways, it's facing a level of threat that it hasn't in the past. And it even it sort of punctured the halo that the group had as this big threat. Indeed, some would argue that actually now it more resembles, the feeling is that it resembles Russia, actually, after the beginning of the Ukraine war, when the image of the, powerful Russian army was punctured, at least for a time.
Despite that, though, it was able to fire into or near Tel Aviv, even though it was intercepted some 24 hours ago. What does that tell you about its capability right now and the calculations being made on both sides?
Well, so it should be said that Hezbollah does not want a wider war. I think even now that remains to be the case, right? There is no interest in that. And indeed, it makes sense that it would follow the strategy of continuing to bomb or lobbing these rockets across the border. And the reason why this is so is because the intention is to merely keep the north empty, right? The north of Israel empty, and to also reduce the pressure on Gaza, right? So far it is managing to do that. Even now, it is managing to do that. And so, I realize that does not sound like a long-term goal. And there is also an open account now with Israel, as the Hezbollah leaders have said. At the same time, they merely achieve as an insurgency by, surviving and not letting Israel actually achieve its goals.
Yeah, exactly. And Hezbollah has vowed to continue attacking Israel so long as the war in Gaza continues. There are so many world leaders pushing for a ceasefire in Gaza, and also this between Lebanon and Hezbollah and Israel right now. Is there a window for diplomacy, as far as you can tell, at this point in time?
The sad part is we've been hearing about diplomacy for the last year. If you look at what's been happening with the Gaza ceasefire, in many ways it's become the new two-state solution where we keep on hearing about negotiations, but nothing actually happens on the ground. And unfortunately, this was very much an avoidable situation. The Gaza ceasefire is something that, as you said, everyone has been pushing for, and yet at the same time, it has not come to fruition. And now we're seeing the expansion of this war to other places. And it should be noted that there's also the Iraqi militias, there's also the Yemen's Houthis, and all have said the same thing, that they would stop if there was a ceasefire. It's obvious that the shortest way to get to there is to have a ceasefire, and yet it seems we are going through the longest way to do so. So, no, I don't really see any kind of space for it at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, sad state of reality, really. Nabih, Bulos, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us from Beirut.
Thank you for having me.